Hi, welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Deborah Johnson, Rev D. You have joined us with our virtual Sunday gathering that we do at Inner Light Ministries. So happy to have you with us. Just take a breath and breathe in life. Breathe in life. We come to this space as a reminder that we are all sons and daughters of the universe, of life itself. And it's not even binary. I mean, there's things beyond sons and daughters and however else that we may think of it, but we all come from it. We're all offspring. We are all part of this creative essence, and it is our very life. It's who we are. We are verbs, we are activities, we're not just nouns. So we invite you into this beautiful, beautiful adventure called life. At Inner Light, we embody this spiritual oneness that I speak about. We appreciate your individualized expressions, the way that you are uniquely you. And we honor all the different paths. There's just so many paths that get to this oneness. But we honor all the paths that are leading to this spiritual oneness, that are leading towards social justice, that are leading towards environmental sustainability and regeneration. We're all here moving in the same direction. And our time together helps to fortify us. It helps to uplift us. So just take a breath. Take a breath. I want to encourage each and every one of you to take that breath throughout the day. We can get very anxious and caught up in whatever it is that's going on, and literally we're holding our breath, and in the breath is life. So we want to open up wide and make sure that that energy is running through us as powerfully as it can possibly be. At Inner Light, we offer tools for living, tools that encourage the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. We're not here about doctrine or dogma or a particular creed. I personally was raised very Pentecostal Christian, so I have a strong Bible background. And I know that there's no monopoly on truth. So those kernels of truth that were in the spiritual tradition that I grew up in are available everywhere. Everywhere. Nobody has a monopoly. So we try to speak at that level. What is true across time, across culture, across history, that is transcendent of any particular religion or its practices. Okay. And as you're hearing things, you may say, well, oh, that sounds very this. Oh, that sounds like something we talked about at the 12-step program. Oh, that sounds very Buddhist. Oh, that sounds, well, it probably does. Okay. Because anything that has any real kernel of truth is tapped into the same source. So I invite you to interpret, to restate something in your mind in a way that may work better for you, to translate it. Okay. But let's learn not to dismiss the truth, because it doesn't always come packaged in the way that we are accustomed to seeing it or hearing it. Okay. There's room enough for our varieties of expression of how it is that we commune with the divine. One of the things that we offer at Inner Light are affirmative activations. They are 100 words every week, 100 words to lift us up, to recalibrate us, to remind us of the truth of who it is that we are. Okay, 100 words. And although we go over them here during this virtual time together, that's just an introduction. Okay, that's just so you can see that it's there, know that it's there, experience it a little bit, but the power comes in the repetition. Okay, the power comes in aligning with it, in going over it, allowing it to find a resting place in your heart and in your soul. And I want to encourage you to do that. So, as the affirmations come up on your screen now, I invite you to actually say them out loud with me right now. I am a global citizen. I belong to something much larger than family or community. I am part of the fullness of humanity itself, unfolding into its greatness. My thoughts are contagious. They are deposits into the ethers. Thoughts are not private. I'm careful about what I emit. I'm mindful of the thoughts I intercept, retain, and nurture. I never allow my inner vibration to be dragged down. For the higher good, I relinquish old hurts and patterns. By purifying my own heart, I strengthen the entire world's chi energy. Releasing judgment, I choose being of the highest service. So let that sink in for a moment. And notice if there's something that's pulling you, something that's attracting you. Is it I'm mindful of the thoughts I intercept, retain, and nurture? Perhaps it's I belong to something much larger than family or community. Maybe it's releasing judgment. I choose being of the highest service. Or perhaps I never allow my inner vibration to be dragged down. Just notice if there's something calling to you. Notice if there's anything that you might be resisting. Either way, pay special attention because those have gifts for you. As you're going over them, you might want to repeat those a little bit more. Find ways to keep this fresh before you. All right, take a breath. So, we're talking today about thoughts are contagious. And There's a song that we're going to listen to by a wonderful artist. Her name is Sarita. And the good news is that if you're looking at this in real time on October the 6th, 2024, Sarita is going to be with us this afternoon. I'll say a little bit more about that later. But her new CD is dropping this week. And this is one of her classics that's perfect setup for our message today. Inner Wealth by Sarita.
Oh, so very blessed, yes. Inner wealth is everlasting. It's in the daily practice, to truly arise and shine. Take some discipline at times, so I'm working on what's within. Ever living, ever giving, I'm blessed to be witness to this eternal richness. From the roots to the fruits, do you enjoy the ride? I can see that you really mean it when you smile. Feels so good to shine on the inside. It's a natural high, the meaning of life. Every word you say, it has a vibration, and every thought you have goes out towards the sun. So beware of what you think, because it will become. Stay strong, inner wealth is everlasting. It's in the daily practice, to truly arise and shine. Take some discipline and time, so I'm working on what's within. Ever living, ever giving, I'm blessed to be witness to this eternal richness. Inner wealth, the kind of richness make your eyes shine bright. The kind of wealth will open your heart wide. Everyone will know your love in life, cause you look so fine, divine. Well, everything you do attracts more of the same, so best be sure to give, it will come round again. Together we have everything, and we all win. Inner wealth is everlasting. It's in the daily practice, to truly arise and shine. Take some discipline and time, so I'm working on what's within. Ever living, ever giving, I'm blessed to be witness to this eternal richness. From the roots to the fruits, do you enjoy the ride? I can see that you really mean it when you smile. Feels so good to shine on the inside. It's a natural high, the meaning of life. Every word you say, it has a vibration. Every thought you have goes out towards the sun. So beware of what you think, cause it will become. Stay strong, inner wealth is everlasting. It's in the daily practice, to truly arise and shine. Take some discipline and time, so I'm working on what's within. Ever living, ever giving, blessed to be witness to this eternal richness. Oh, so very blessed, yes.
Thank you, Sarita, for your consciousness, and look forward to being with you this afternoon. Once again, that's Sarita, who will be with us at the Resource Center for Nonviolence today, October the 6th, 2024. If you're in the Santa Cruz area, will also be streaming live. So you can catch it on YouTube if you're not with us in person. We're talking today about thoughts are contagious. You know, there was a point in time years ago where I might have had a more difficult time trying to convince people of its truth. Um, but in the kind of environment that we live in today, it is really clear how thoughts and the words that we speak, how all of that is really contagious. Contagious is we when something is communicable, where we're spreading it from one another. And when something is contagious, it's 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 existing in such a way that if somebody is vulnerable or susceptible, they might pick it up. We just came through a global pandemic. Okay? So the whole world lived in this environment and this crash course of what it means for something to be contagious. We know that we're all breathing in the same air, which is why we were wearing masks. We were doing these different things, staying socially distanced apart from one another. Big places of gathering like shut down so that we wouldn't be in too close proximity to each other to be able to spread the germs, to be able to spread the virus that was coming out every time that we opened our mouths, every time that we spoke. Well, there's a similar thing that happens with our thoughts. Okay? Just as when we speak, there's breath that comes out of the mouth and that impacts the whole surrounding area. Well, it isn't just the breath that comes out of the mouth that impacts the area. It's what we're saying, the things that we are thinking as well are impacting everybody and everything around. So, what we know about the brain and how it works, that the thoughts that fire together wire together. The reason why we have a belief is because we have thought that same thought so often that it has created a pathway of connectivity. Every time we think, there's a little chemical reaction. It's like a highway of neural synapses. The more often we think something, the stronger that network becomes. Okay, the stronger that highway is. Like when if you're out someplace and you can see that people have cut through a certain area and it's now become a trail because enough people have followed on that exact same spot that in that spot nothing's growing. Okay, in that spot there's no grass or whatever. It's worn through. It's a path. Okay. Well, something like that's kind of like going on in the brain where there's all this activity and whatnot that's going on, but then there are these pathways. And once that pathway is there, that pathway creates an opportunity for other people to be able to follow that same pathway. It's really extraordinary. Now, we know this. And it's very interesting that I find that we understand things in the negative sometimes faster than we understand them in the positive. So if you're a parent, for example, you are mindful of what your kid is reading, what they're looking at, what influences are around them. Are they being exposed to social media? Who's the crowd that's around them? You're mindful of these things because you know that there's an impact on them. Okay? Whatever it is that we're exposed to, we take it in at certain levels. And when you're younger, you don't have the filters. When you're younger, you don't have the ability to discern what's truth, what's not truth, to be able to make real cognitive decisions about what you reject, what it is that you embrace. There's a greater susceptibility. We're finding now with this complete bombardment that we're having in the news, the airways, social media, and all of the rest of that, that we are not using these discerning properties that we have. There's a way we're just being like little limits, and whatever it is that's being put in front of us, we are automatically accepting it as true, sometimes with no thought, no analysis. We have this concept now of something going viral. Okay, that's a perfect example of this thought being contagious, that you see something, you like it, you pass it on, you let other people know about it, and then before you know it, something's trending. That means like a lot of people are tuning in to that same thought. This is good news, and this could be bad news, depending upon what it is that we're setting into motion. So take a breath. I've been talking now about things that are actually manifest, where we've gotten the word out. It's come out of our mouth, where we're able to hear it. There's some evidence of what the thought is that we're thinking. Newsflash. Newsflash. It doesn't have to be said. In order for your thought to be picked up, it doesn't need to be said. Think back in your childhood, for example. There were all kinds of values that you learned. Values about whatever, about race relations, about gender relations, who people were in contrast to each other. There are a lot of things that weren't necessarily articulated. Okay. They weren't necessarily said, but the idea of it was conveyed in so many different kinds of ways. And we react to all that. We respond to all of that. Once again, it's good news and it's bad news. It's good news in the sense that if we're conscious and if we're positive in what it is that we're admitting and what it is that we're putting out there, we can lift each other up. We lift each other up. It's amazing. There have been many studies that have been done, for example, about people in hospitals, where there have been these experiments where you had a control group where nothing happened, but you have another group where people were praying for them, or it could have been a neighborhood, could have been a school. These kinds of experiments have been done in many environments. And the statistics will show that where there has been conscious, positive energy, vibration directed towards that particular sample group, they always did better. Whatever. Their health improved more quickly. Signs of violence went down. Grades went up. All these signs of a greater well-being, they didn't know. They didn't know they were being prayed for. They didn't know all that. But energetically, they felt it. They felt it. Okay. The converse is also true. Don't you just know when somebody's thinking ill of you? They don't have to tell you, but you can feel it at a very visceral level. Now, imagine that and what happens for some groups where that's magnified, where their entire sociodemographic profile is denigrated, dehumanized, scapegoated, and the kind of emotional and psychic toll that takes. We have found with students that students will rise up to the level of the expectations of them. Listen to what I'm saying. When they are in environments where the people around them are holding them in high esteem, they excel. When they're in environments where people aren't expecting much of them, don't demand anything of them, and are constantly putting out these messages and signals that these kids are never going to amount to anything or they're less than everybody else, the kids start acting and vibrating with that. It's really extraordinary when we think about it. Our thoughts are not private. Our thoughts are not private. They carry an energetic field. So if your thoughts are thoughts of worry, that's picked up. If your thoughts are wholesome and your thoughts about hope and possibility, that's also picked up. Regardless of what your actions are, regardless of what you may be saying with your mouth, we can really see this in this social political environment that we're in right now during this election season. There's a lot of wah, 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 wah going on with the mouth. But energetically, you can feel what's being thought. You can feel the directions in which people are wanting to go or trying not to go. It's life. But here's the thing that's so wonderful. You're not just the victim. You're not just the victim. We don't have to cower down. We don't have to just accept what everybody else thinks. You have been given a sound mind. You have been given power. We don't have to live in cowardice. We don't have to live in fear. We don't have to be the butt of what everybody else is thinking. Your thought is the only thing you can control. You cannot control the outer circumstance. You can't control what everybody else thinks. You can't control what everybody else is doing. But you get to control your reaction to it. This is the way that we control our experience. That's what we get to control. Okay. But whatever it is that you're thinking, and whatever this is that you're doing with your own beingness, it's not private. I know that's shocking. And I know that's really disappointing because we want to think that if we don't deliberately disclose something, that it won't be discovered or can't be found out. There are no secrets. Everything is out there in the universe. Everything. We are part of it. And the more that we relax into that, say, okay, there's this, we call it the ethers. It's the field. In neuroscience now, they're calling it epigenetics. It's like it's realizing that everything that's going on with us isn't happening below the skin, that we're these energetic fields and beings, and that our energy fields are interacting and reacting with each other all the time. This is wonderful news if we assume responsibility for it. Listen to what I'm saying. We don't have to be just at the mercy and at the subject of everything that's going on. We get to decide what we put into motion. We get to decide what we resonate with. We get to consciously choose to be places of empowerment and support and upliftment. We get to choose it. I know you've heard this phrase that history repeats itself. Kind of true, kind of not. It does repeat, but it isn't that history is repeating itself. It's that as human beings, we're recreating the same thought patterns. We're recreating the same scenarios that existed before. We have to be really mindful. You know, we have this idea of the cloud. Okay. Very few people understand how the cloud works. And yet we are trusting all of our data, all of our information into this cloud. And we're thinking like this cloud is retaining information that is available to be accessed at any time that we want to access it. Okay. So what I'm calling the ethers is kind of similar to this cloud, so to speak, where all our thoughts, all our feelings, all our emotions are going to the cloud. Okay, the cosmic cloud. And they're there. They're there to be retrieved. Okay. But unlike the cloud, where you have passwords and these different types of things that try to protect who, in fact, has access to it, the ethers is open. Okay. It's open. There are no special passwords to get in, to lock anybody out. We can tap into and resonate with anything that we want to at any point in time. And we can be easily manipulated by people who have their own agendas, putting forth certain ideas to get more and more people to buy into it. Because the more people buy into something, the more likely it is to manifest. Okay? That's just the way that it is. So we have to be very careful that we are not inadvertently allowing ourselves to be places where ideas that we don't want to see manifest, where we're actually channeling them. Listen to what I'm saying. When something's trending, it doesn't matter whether you like it or you don't like it. It's just the amount of energy that's being given to it. That's what makes it trend. So if we're busy sharing things that we don't even like, okay, passing it along, we're actually part of its multiplying. Think about that. Think about that. Are you helping to spread things that you don't even want to have manifest? Okay? If somebody were to, if your brain was like an open door, your heart space was an open door, and somebody were to walk in there and spend an hour in your brain and an hour in your energetic field, what are they going to feel when they come out? Are they going to feel inspired? Are they going to feel connected? They're going to feel hopeful? What are they going to feel? And here's the thing that's so wonderful is that because we're all feeding off of each other's, you have the right to tap in to things that feed you. The the poetry that's out there, the sacred text, the stories, the poems, the music, all of these gifts that those before us have left. But it doesn't just have to be the tangible stuff either. We tap into the prayers. Okay? We tap into the hope. Sometimes in the opening of sacred space, you'll hear people say things like calling in the spirit of the ancestors. That's not just a gesture. It's not just a gesture. It is the acknowledgement that there have been many, 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 many generations before us who have walked this planet, who know even more than we know about living in harmony with the planet, about living in harmony with each other, who know things about resilience, courage, facing adversity, reconciliation, getting along, how to build and live and support each other in community, even technological things. We're still stupefied at how do you build the pyramid? Ancient cultures have done all kinds of surgeries and things that we still don't know. I'm thinking back of trips that I've taken in Mexico and the Yucatan Peninsula and places like Chichen Itza or Tulum, where there, remember being at this stadium. It's an athletic field stadium built thousands of years ago, where 100 yards away the royalty could talk to each other, it no louder than I'm speaking now, outdoor stadium, and nobody on the sides can hear. Whoa, whoa, all kinds of things. So when we call upon the spirit of the ancestors, we are acknowledging that one, we don't know it all, but two, it's not lost. Their wisdom, their understanding, their their thoughts, their awareness, that just because they're not in bodies doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And we can tap into it. We can tap into it. We can be inspired. We can be uplifted. But just remember, we can tap into anything. And that's part of the danger. As we find ourselves collectively now in democracies across the world, tapping in to some of the worst energy about demonizing certain populations or scapegoating them, wanting to get rid of them, and claiming that they are the problem with everything, and they're vermin and they're not human beings. See, there's nothing new about that. It's been in the ethers for a long time, but we don't have to repeat it. Those aren't thoughts that we have to continue with. There's a line in scripture that says how the sins of the father are visited upon the children, which is another way of saying that if we don't heal, if we don't reconcile, if we don't turn it around and move up to higher vibrations of consciousness, that whatever we're leaving as sort of the status quo gets multiplied. And the next ones do it. And the next ones do it. Unexamined assumptions about it's just the way that things are. We don't have to live with that. We don't have to live with that. When you see things that you don't like, don't be in fear. Go upstairs. When you see things that you don't like, don't just judge it, because that keeps giving it energy. Make another deposit in the ethers. Go up. Go up. Go up. Go up. Because all of the negative stuff, it's just trapped energy. People don't even realize that they have opportunities to be something different. They have spiritual amnesia. But we can be awake. We can be aware. We can be alive. We can be a blessing. Let your energy field, let who you are as an energetic being in the universe be a blessing. We need you. For real. Like right now, we really need you. Let's go to prayer. How good it is. How good it is to know and to know that we know. How good it is to have the awareness that life itself is good. That life itself is good all the time. Music never stops. Beauty, art, love, creativity. There's no amount of war or famine or dehumanization. There's nothing that can stop those things from being in existence. We may try to stop their expression. Oh! But you can't step it out. The light. The integration. The reconciliation. The clarity, the discernment. The balance. It's always there. It's who we are, just waiting our conscious recognition of it to activate it to its highest potential within us. So we say thank you for our capacity to transcend, to rise above, to stare things right into the eye and say, you have no power over me. You have no power over me. Thank you. Thank you. We claim our inheritance. We step into the fullness of our divinity. A certain something within us that says, I am more than this. More than circumstances, more than conditions. I'm not my finances. I'm not my relationships. I'm not whatever's going on in my body temple. I'm not my career. I'm not a profile, a statistic. Oh no. Who I am is so much greater than all of that. We say, here I am. Mother, Father God, here I am. Send me. Use me. May my every thought, word, and deed be a blessing unto this universe. I speak a word for all the prayer requests that have come in. The prayers that are on our hearts that we haven't even had the courage to articulate yet. I pray for the health, for the healing. Pray for the wholeness. Restoration of the body temple. Financial sustenance. Fiscal stability. I pray for the husk of our hardened hearts to fall away. For the time-blinded eye to see everything that it's been missing. I'm praying in this moment for the reconciliations, the collegiality, praying for the civility, for our pure capacity as human beings to share the planet with each other, to get along. to be good stewards of the earth and all of its inhabitants. I pray peace be still. Where there's wars, displacement, hunger, in those places that are ravished by the impacts of climate change, other natural disasters or catastrophes. I pray in this moment that we rally, that we share everything that we have, that it all gets to where it needs to get to. I know it's possible. I know it's possible to have enough to go around. I know it's possible to have clean energy and clean water. I know. And I pray in this moment right now that we have the will to make it so. So we just get out of the way. We allow it to be. And so it is. Amen and amen. And I invite you to share your prayer requests with us. You'll see numbers that are scrolling across the screen. We have prayer practitioners that have trained for years. It's all confidential. 831-465-9090 at extension 254. You can send us an email. The number 4 and the word prayer at innerlightministries.com. Someone will get back to you. The whole ministry prays for you. And it doesn't have to be something that's alarming. Maybe it's something wonderful. Something's birthing, coming into your existence, and you just want us to hold the high watch with you. Those thoughts to wire together and fire together to create the greater path for fulfillment. We'll do that with you too. Because God is good all of the time. We lovingly let that be. And so it is. Just breathe in the prayers. Yes. And I invite you again, if you're seeing this in real time, if you're in the Santa Cruz area, to actually join us at the Resource Center for Nonviolence on Ocean Street in close to downtown Santa Cruz. We'll be there from 3 to 5 this afternoon with the Inner Light Band and the reggae artist Sarita, joined by hip hop artist Gina Renee. There'll be food to share, afterwards as well. Please come. And if you're not in the Santa Cruz area, it will live stream, so you can catch us on YouTube. And for different things that are going on, please check out our calendar. We'd love to be in community with you. And in saying gratitudes, I want to say thank you too for all of the financial support that comes in, and for each and every one of you for being a part. And it's not membership. If you're here, you're listening, you are a part of it. during our time now of conscious giving and conscious contribution, I invite you to register that support. There, as you will see, there's numerous ways in which you can do that. You can do a QR code on a mobile device, use any debit, credit card, you can use PayPal if you choose. Um, Text to give, as well as the QR code gives you an opportunity to do recurring option. And to those of you who do that, I say thank you. The amount is your choice. Some people do full on tithes. Some people give a specific amount and they're giving to numerous organizations, as well. Follow your heart in terms of the support and know that the generosity that you give opens up your heart so that you can be a better receiver. If you're online, there's a donate button that's right there. You might want to use Cash App. But the giving is a way that we say thank you to the universe for blessing us. It's a sacred act. It's a sacred act. We give as well. It's a sacred act. It's a sacred act. It reminds us that we have the capacity to be the great givers in life. When we support that which supports us, things flourish. And it also makes us greater portals in which to receive. Okay. So remember that your generosity returns to you. I invite you to bless this gift, to bless it. Repeat after me. My every act produces abundance. I dare to give freely unto the truth that sets us free. I release this gift, knowing it returns to us a thousandfold. A thousandfold. And if you didn't catch that information, it'll come back on the screen momentarily. At Inner Light, we always, always remind you that this is not just something to listen to and, check off the to-do list. No, this is active practice that we invite you into, and don't do it alone. We're stronger together. So take this consciousness and multiply it. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.